Coming up on Theater Talk.
To try to step into Robin Williams' shoes is kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So you kind of have to create something new. And Casey gave me the box to play in. He goes, "Show me something," and then I'll show him something. He'll go, "I don't like that," or I'll go, "Boo!"
Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation. From New York City, this is Theater Talk. I'm Susan Haskins.
And I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post. Now, Susan, there is an absolutely sensational revival of that great play, A Raisin in the Sun, on Broadway. We had Denzel and Woody King on not too long ago. Denzel Washington, who's the star of it. But I tell you, as good as Denzel Washington is, that man is nothing without the support from three supremely talented actresses. I'm delighted to be joined tonight by LaTanya Richardson Jackson, who plays Lena Younger. The mother, yes, holding this family together.
And let me just say, and the mother is nothing without her son.
and how does the sister of Walter Lee Younger feel about him, Anika Noni Rose, who plays Beneatha? How do you feel about Denzel and poor old Walter Lee in this circle of women?
Yeah, Walter Lee's a bit of a mess, but but Denzel and I have a great time on stage, and it's fun to be with someone who could batter us with stardom on stage, but doesn't, and is there to work with the play and make the play work. And the long-suffering wife,
played brilliantly by Sophie Okenedo. Yeah. Welcome to Theater Talk.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to ask you, because I saw the play last night. I was struck by the fact that, and allow me to play the devil's advocate here, I feel sorry for Walter Lee Younger because he's completely dominated by all of these strong women. You guys, you never give him any chance to breathe in this household. Do you agree with that interpretation?
No.
No, well, all right. It's all Walter's fault?
No, I think it changes. I mean, I think all of us, there's no goodies and baddies. We all do. I mean, that's what makes it so nuanced, the piece. That I imagine, it's difficult to step outside it because I'm in the show, but I imagine when I was reading it that you have allegiance to one character and then it moves, it shifts to another character when they say something and it shifts back again, and that's what makes it so human. And so I feel all of us don't have room to breathe. Yeah. We live on top of each other. That's why we're desperate to leave.
Yeah, I thought that this production, directed by Kenny Leon, gives a wonderful sense of the claustrophobia of that apartment. I mean, you can really feel, Denzel just on the verge of exploding all the time.
Which is why it's great that we have found some way to find the humor in us living there. Because I said these people would kill each other with the intense situation and size of the space that they're living in with roaches. Yes. That they would have to kill each other if somebody didn't laugh at some point.
You provide a fair amount of the laughs when you come in with a great African dress, which brought down the house last time. Because, I mean, you are playing a woman who wants to break away as well from this household, does she not? I mean, she wants to discover a whole big world out there.
She wants to discover the world. She wants to discover womanhood. She wants to figure out who she is in the space of this really changing landscape of America, but also not confine herself to what America has decided that she should be. So she's really on the precipice of something great, whether it's a great explosion and a fabulous journey or a great disaster. She's standing on the edge of it, but she's going to jump into it.
That was Lorraine Hansberry, the playwright, depicting herself.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
You know, I saw this play in the first production. I actually saw the Chicago touring tour with the original cast, but Ossie Davis. The thing that blew me away, aside from the fact that I felt everybody was a victim of society, basically, but with Beneatha, her rejection of God, which in 1960 was something very radical and mind-blowing.
It was very radical, and it was very much Lorraine Hansberry. She had a respect for people and their religion, and she looked at it and she could think about it as an intellectual, but she did not believe in that. She believed that it was something that people needed in order to make it through this world because the world was so difficult.
When she says to you, you know, the thing about there is no God, and then you, as the mother, you have a very physical reaction. How do you play that scene without hurting her.
She hurts her.
Let me show you my stitches. No.
In my mother's house, there is God. Boom.
There's still God.
Yeah.
We practice every day. We have a fight call, and we practice because there is a part of your face, theoretically, where it won't hurt if someone hits you,
But
and
it's a
slaps
good
you,
noise.
but it makes a loud noise, and it's in the hollow of the cheek. So I aim for that nightly. I can't see, but I'm aiming for it.
And how's that working out for you?
Well, we got this eye last week.
But, you know, it's a testament, though, to how powerfully that scene is written and acted by you, that even for somebody like me who would take Lorraine Hansberry's view, I don't believe in God, but when she says, in my mother's house there is still God, you are not going to mess with that woman.
It's very much in our community, in the African American community, it's the way we have survived. And if you believe in or have a faith or not in a God, it's the one thing that you would not speak against. You just keep your mouth shut, but you don't speak against it. And especially in open, you would never say that to your mother if you thought that. So she has blasphemed in the house that this mother is in charge of and is the head of. And by her blaspheming, then that sheds a light on the mother not doing her job.
Sophie, your character, what is her dream? I mean, it seems you're so worn down by dealing with this man-child husband of yours. I mean, you know, we know she's keeping the family together. We know she's going to dream of going off to be a doctor and see the world. What is it that your character at least hopes for, prays for, would like to have out of life?
I think she would like to be able to, I mean, her big dream is, as soon as you mention that maybe we could put some money, a down payment on a 2-story somewhere, as soon as you say that, I think that's her dream, like to get out of that place and just to be able to live.
Yeah.
Just to live as humans. You know, it's somehow in humans what's happening there. They're just so crowded. There's no room. In society, they're not given a fair chance, a fair crack at the whip. So it's kind of inhuman. And so she just wants to live with some humanity around her.
Embodied by they don't have a bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a symbol. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just they're quite simple dreams, and also it would be great to sort of heal the relationship somewhat. I mean, she's definitely loves Waterley.
She does. That comes across definitely in your
Oh,
performance.
that's good.
Despite of the stuff, you know, you want to kill him sometimes, but you tell everybody, even you, when you hate him, you can see that you still do love him. Why is that? What is it about this character that Lorraine Hansberry created in Walter Lee, with all the mistakes he does, all the screw-ups? Why do these women still love him? I mean, I know it's the son.
Well, he's my son, and he's lovable. But I don't know. I think we love him because he is, just because of who he is. And we love him because he's ours. I love him because he's mine. And I see what he has had to go through. And I don't know. And I'm a mom, so I know what it's like to hold a baby. I know what it's like to watch him grow. And I can't even imagine what my child would have to do in order for me to step away and not love them anymore. Now, I did tell them in the beginning. I told everybody, look, I don't go to jail. I'm not going to. So if if you decide that you want to be some aberrant child and bad, you'll be doing it by yourself. But I'm not doing any of that. So I guess that would, you know, if he had done something where I had to step away. But other than that, you love your child.
Yes.
Just because.
And your feelings for Walter Lee? I mean, what do you think? How does Lorraine Hansberry sketch in that relationship or develop that relationship?
I think, you know, when you start and somebody is your older sibling, they're the moon.
Yeah.
And things change. You know, I've realized that I'm smarter than he is, which is, I think, difficult for both of them to handle. But we still are able to have fun with each other. I think that Benita is smart enough to understand that the world really has ruined Walter Lee. It is not all his fault.
No.
This moment is his fault,
Right.
but it's not all his fault. And as angry as she is, the fact that he can say, though it is a small thing, that he is proud of who I am and who I am becoming, and that he has not deliberately tried to ruin that, patches some of that up. because there is the hope for who we all can become and where we all will go, and that he can find a way to become a man who is self-sufficient. Because his dreams, though they may not be the dream that you want to pursue, are dreams that possibly make sense. He talks about his friend who started a laundromat or something like that.
Grossing $100,000.
Making crazy
Dry
money.
cleaners.
So why would he not be able to start a business and make crazy money? This isn't the moment, and certainly not with my school funds.
No.
But you know, I think that there is nothing closer than sibling love. There's nothing closer than a sibling. Nobody shares your DNA like your sibling does. And I think that sometimes, even when you think, oh my gosh, I could kill him, the thing that holds you is that there is no one who knows you like that. There is no one who has had the experiences that you have had together. And when that person shows that they have an ounce of the ability to redeem themselves, you want to hold on to that. You want it to be better.
What is it about him in the marriage that keeps you there? I mean, I actually must say, I still think, there's a sexual aspect to it. I mean, the way you guys play it, you are attracted to each other in spite of
It's so hard hearing you talk about how it comes across.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I live in a kind of, you know, I don't read reviews, I don't read anything about it.
I don't think we've
So even when you said I'm careworn, I thought, am I? Is that how I'm coming across? Because I just playing the moment. I'm not really thinking about how it comes across. So it's even hard hearing it. I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to think about that tonight. You know? I just play the scene. That was just an aside.
Right.
But I think I always imagine, you know, in my kind of, when we were rehearsing, I would imagine how we met and the early days, and I would find clues in the text that support the history that I'm creating for Ruth. And one of the things I thought was that, you know, she was possibly a dreamer too, like him when they met. That she liked to dream big, and over the years and the failures that have happened through that, she's kind of thought, okay, let's just get real. But perhaps at the beginning, she quite enjoyed doing that with Walter, and that was part of the attraction, as well as being, you know, really, really fancying him and having a sexual attraction as well, and that all being great. But that wouldn't last for so long if there wasn't a love supporting it. So I think she probably was quite, maybe she was just, the years have worn her down with stuff. But earlier on, perhaps she just used to daydream about how life was going to be when they got the house and when they did this, and maybe he'd have a big business and maybe he'd be a businessman, and she would just join in. Life is so that.
It's interesting. You when I said you look so careworn. I'm sorry. Don't look. Play the moment. But it reminds me of the great critic.
Not listening.
the great critic Walter Kerr. The actors used to say Walter Kerr was such a great writer, and he could describe someone's performance, and he could isolate, you know, one moment where, let's say, Gwen Verdon moves her wrist this way, and he would describe it. And the actress would say, once you read that, you could never do it again. It was gone. Because when it would come to that moment, you think, oh, here's the Walter Kerr moment where I moved my wrist. And you can't do it. Is it fun for you guys to watch each other in this play? Because you all have great moments and great scenes.
We don't really get to because we're with each other.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. I've not seen any.
Yeah.
We're there.
Well, that's right. You're always on there.
We're always
on the
there.
I've never seen any of the scenes other than when we were.
I have. Well, backstage, I'll watch the monitor sometimes because when you all are on, when he comes in the dark,
Where is the monitor?
It reminds me of
Don't ever get off stage. You know.
of the honeymooners. I love it. You don't know
See,
what
now you
that
never.
is.
Well, but
it's
you
good.
know what that is.
Sophie, it's a good thing you don't know that reference because you would not be able to play this.
But
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I've often thought that Walter Lee reminds me of Ralph Cramden, that he comes up with these inventions that he wants to give money for.
It looks
and then
like
it's gonna
that.
lose. Yeah, yeah.
Well, this is great talking to you guys. The play is Raisin in the Sun, the great play by Lorraine Hansberry, brilliantly directed, I must say, by Kenny Leon.
Yes,
really.
thank you.
I've known Kenny a long time, but he has real. Terry Teachout, the Wall Street Journal critic, was on. He said it has taken me 3 Kenny Leon productions to realize how good Kenny Leon is, because he never seems to get in the way.
Oh, that's exactly right.
nice.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So, Sophie Okenedo, thank you very much for being our guest on Theater Talk.
You're welcome.
LaTanya Richardson Jackson, a pleasure.
my heart.
And Anika Noni Rose. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Noni, it's not Nanny.
Noni,
Anika Noni
Noni.
Rose. Great performances of Raisin of the Sun, and thank you very much for being our guest tonight on.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
guys. You were wonderful.
Thank you.
Travis, you know that money we got in the mail this morning?
Yes,
You know what your grandmama gone and done with that money?
I don't know, Grandmama.
She went and she bought you a house. You glad about the house? It's gonna be yours when you get to be a man.
Yes, I always wanted to live in a house.
We are already laughing because we have two charming guests. I don't know why they're so much fun. But Casey Nicholaw, our old friend, the great director of Book of Mormon, and Seussical, which...
Not the director of Seussical.
But the reason I say Susan, I just have to say this because it always tickles me. James, I'll get to you in a minute.
No problem.
We had Casey on after Book of Mormon opened, which was like the monster hit of all time.
Oh, yes.
And we interviewed Casey, and I asked him, when did you decide, because you've been a performer, and I said, now Casey, when did you decide you wanted to become a director? And you said...
Well, I said basically I was sitting in a cage in a purple yarn suit saying, there's got to be more for me in my life. And I have to say, too, it's not that I didn't enjoy the show, because I did, and I thought the score was great, and I had a good time on it, but I was just ready to move on.
And you're going to drop this picture in again of Casey
Oh my God,
sad in the yarn suit, in the cage.
By Tony Honoree Joan Marcus. Now, I
Yes, there you go, perfect.
You also directed the fabulous Drowsy Chaperone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Another one, yeah.
Yes,
And now
I
he's
love
here
that
because he's directed, I've got to say, the surprise hit of the season. I mean,
Yes,
a real
and
secret.
well, Huffington Post said it first, but you are right. yes.
Frankly, I did not have big expectations for it. It was a Disney show. We know all the stuff that the Disney show comes with, but it's
How could
Aladdin.
you be surprised, though? It's Casey Nicholaw, though.
Well,
James Monroe Iglehart.
Come on.
We haven't even said that. And it's Aladdin, the wonderful Disney animated film, has been translated to the stage, directed by Casey, got terrific reviews here in New York, and starring as the Genie, James Monroe Iglehart.
Yes.
All right, so we have Casey's story about being in the cage, deciding I can't do this anymore. There must have been an experience, James, in your life, some show you were in, where you thought, I don't think I can go on like this anymore.
No, every show that I've ever been in has pushed me to want to get to this point right now. All I've ever wanted to do was be a performer since I was 4 years old.
Even the bad stuff you said.
Even the bad stuff. Even when I felt like I was marinating in mediocrity, I just knew it was going to get better. And thank God I'm here, and it's gotten so much better.
Well, you got rave reviews playing the Genie.
Yes, I'm
But Casey,
you.
when you were looking for a Genie, how did that casting breakdown go out?
Well, you know what?
Barbara
we
Eden
did-
wasn't available.
Well, yeah, she wasn't free.
True, no.
So, and I wanted her to sing Nonsense Nineveh for me.
Exactly.
But basically, you know, we didn't have any. We didn't have a way we were going to go with it.
Right.
Except that, you know, we didn't want to do the Robin Williams thing or have people compare it to that.
Yep.
And originally, the role was drawn and conceived as Cab Calloway.
Yes.
Right.
And that was so. I thought I would love to have someone that erases that. And James walked in the door.
Did you know him before?
No, not at all. And I just knew it was him right from the beginning. I love
how
this
did you
guy.
audition,
I really love
James?
this guy.
Did you know it was Cab Calloway that was based on?
No, but I am such a Disney nerd that I had seen all the documentaries about how Howard Ashman had originally wanted to be like a Cab Calloway type, Fats Waller type character.
Right, right.
So I went in with that type of thinking. I also told my wife, I was reading the sides, and I just started erasing lines that were already written and writing in my new lines. I said, they're either going to love me or they're going to hate me.
So you auditioned with your own material in
Yes.
some
I
ways.
walked
Did you know
in
he
and
was
just
doing that?
started-
Well, clearly I knew he was doing that when he was writing the lines in, but I like that because I just, you know, I didn't know him and I thought, oh, this guy is based in stand-up. And that's fantastic because we want someone, you know, when you're doing something original, you really want to be able to build it around that person and to create it around them and use all their strengths because first of all, it wouldn't be fun to start, you know, trying to squeeze him into a box and make him be something else. Right. And we got to do everything around him. And that's what the whole show evolved and all the numbers evolved based on what James does best.
Everyone knows, of course, the voice of Robin Williams is the Genie. Did you just put that out of your mind and say, I'm going to create a character that is not
Kind of, yeah.
connected to Robin Williams at all?
You kind of have to because he's a legend. So to try to step into Robin Williams' shoes is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to create something new. And Casey gave me the box to play in, and he would tell me all the time, don't think about the animated feature. Just what would you do? What do you think is funny? Let's try. Just show me something. I used to love when he used to say that. He goes, show me something, and then I'll show him something. He'll go, I don't like that.
or I'll go, boo. Just nothing like
From the back of the room,
helping a
just-
creator's, helping a performer's confidence.
And then
like
sometimes
that.
he'll go, yes, I love that. Keep that. That's what I want.
You never have to pretend to you never have to know what you always know what I'm thinking.
But
know
when you
what
work with an actor like James, it seems to me, I mean, I know directing is a difficult job, but I mean, I suppose part of the thing is you have a talented guy, let him range and do what he does, and you select the stuff that you think.
Absolutely. That's a director's dream. It really is. Till the bitter end, till the day we were frozen, and the day after we were frozen.
Right.
I'm like, James, come downstairs. Okay, what are we going to do?
Like,
Let's figure this
we're
out.
frozen. Okay, James, I need to talk to you for a second.
We need a different line for this. What are we going to do?
Because
Are you getting royalties as the writer of this show too? Because we know how generous Disney is on that score.
No. I'm very happy. Where's the camera? I'm very
And
happy.
Chad was down there with Chad was down there with us.
Speaking of Frozen now, you did this show previously in Seattle and
Right.
Toronto. And
Right.
in Seattle, I would say that the reviews were not what they are
Right.
here in New York. And
Right.
you really turned it around in the most amazing way.
We did. It's pretty incredible. I mean, Seattle, it's much different than it was in Seattle for sure.
Yes.
And in Toronto, I mean, I have to say the biggest changes in the show happened between Toronto and now, in the last 2 months.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't going like we wanted it to there, and for many reasons, the show just has a different personality and it reveals its personality. And there were just certain things the show itself didn't want. And so we worked those two months. I didn't stop for 2 months between Toronto and here.
Hey, Michael, tell them what Harvey said about the show.
Oh, so we had Harvey Firestein on not too long ago, and he said, and you don't know, there's so much stuff going on there. This one comes up this way, and he comes down that way, and you think, oh, he was over here, but now he's over there.
But he was like, how do they do it?
But if you're in theater,
The
and you know how
logistics
hard it is
behind the scenes.
to get a pair of shoes changed backstage. And you're going like, Jesus, I just saw that actor too. He went up there, and now he's coming down from the ceiling.
No, he's twirling up.
There's a lot of stuff in that show. It's by far the biggest thing I've ever done. As far as just the scenery, and you go backstage and you go,
Well, it's Aladdin.
Whoa.
It's
Gotta have that magic carpet ride.
You gotta. There's an expectation when people come in to see Aladdin about it being magical and mystical.
Yeah.
And
exotic.
And exotic.
Yeah.
And Casey was able to create a concept that has all of that while still being based in a foundation of Broadway musical comedy.
Right.
Which is one of the things I
And
love
no one
about the
getting
show.
injured.
Nope.
no one getting injured.
Now, I want to ask you guys, a lot of people, I think, they fall in love with musicals in school. They do Bye Bye Birdie or whatnot. But I think something underappreciated is that a lot of people who love musicals also fell in love with the great Disney animated films, which are musicals.
Yes.
James, can you tell me your earliest memory of the first Disney show, a movie that you saw that sort of made you think, I love this music?
Yes.
I love this style.
I was at the Union City Drive-In. I was about 9 years old, and I went to go see The Jungle Book. My father took me to see it. And from that moment on, from the first moment that Phil Harris did the voice of Baloo and sang the song Bare Necessities, I was hooked. And I have seen almost every Disney feature ever since then. Every musical that they've done with the Sherman Brothers writing the music all the way up into Howard Ashman, all the way up into Bobby Lopez,
So what was yours? You have a memory of a kid, the first Disney one?
101 Dalmatians for me was my favorite. Yes. And Cruella de Vil.
Yes.
Like, come on. Yeah, totally. I loved that one. That was my favorite.
You have one, Susan?
Oh my God! Well, I go way back. Dumbo.
Ah, yes.
Even though it's racist and so we don't like it, but
What's really
but-
funny, people don't realize that the crow is voiced by the same guy who does Jiminy Cricket, but the other
Really?
crows are
Yeah.
voiced by an actual black chorus at the time.
Yes, no, it's wonderful. It's just it does, but the taking him from his mother and
That's the hard
oh,
part
yes,
for me.
that's
It's not
hard
the
part.
crow
That's
thing.
hard.
Yeah, well, this is interesting though because for me, I remember it as a kid, drive-in movie. It was
Yes.
a drive-in movie. That was the experience. It was Song of the South.
Oh,
Which I mean, I know
Talk
it's supposed
about
to be
racist.
totally politically
All right.
correct, but I mean, to me, it was absolutely magical. The music and the live and the animation.
But then you see how far we've come. You've come from those two things all the way back to Aladdin, and then when you look on stage, and there was a young girl who came to see our show, a young black girl, and she was waiting outside, and two of our dancers came out, and when she saw them, she kind of teared up. I guess she was like 10 or so, and one of our dancers said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Everybody on stage looks like me."
Yeah.
So you go from those two films all the way now to where Disney Theatrical has come, and you look across the stage, and there's this shade of everyone.
Yes.
So the Great White Way has become a lot more colorful in the last season.
All right, the show is Aladdin. Really has restored, I think, much luster to Disney. We haven't had a show this popular from Disney since The Lion King, I think. So testament to James and Casey Nicholaw, the director.
Great.
Yes.
We'll see you on that magic carpet ride, boys.
Excellent.
Casey is the best. And what he, I think people must have a concept that, he just moves you people around the stage very well, and that's about it. But the truth is, especially in the last 3 weeks between Toronto and New York, what he did was the equivalent of a surgeon going in and moving organs around and bringing out a body that was completely cured and healthy.
Our thanks to the Friends of Theater Talk for their significant contribution to this production. Theater Talk is made possible in part by the Frederick Lowe Foundation, the Corey and Bob Donnelly Charitable Fund, the Noel Coward Foundation, Carrie J. Fries, the Dorothy Strelson Foundation, plus public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, the New York State Council on the Arts, a state agency, and the Theater Development Fund's Technical Accessibility Program, which helps provide closed captioning.
We welcome your questions or comments for Theater Talk. Thank you and good night.